What is going on, everyone? It's David Palmer, Leo King. We are here live for the astrology update, April 21st, 2021. This is going to go to the 27th of 2021. We got a lot that's going to go down in this week. Hold on, let me get some lighting in this place. Trying to get the lighting good on this YouTube camera here. It's like not the best. Might be a little better. We'll have to deal with it. Hope everybody's doing well. If you're on Instagram, I am live on YouTube, where it's, I think, a lot better audio. Although it might need me a little bit more. Hello, can you hear me? I should have a live chat open too. Can you hear me on YouTube good? All right. So this is a lot. This is finally going to be the big shift that 2021 is going to get funky. There's positives to this, though, because this is a full moon in Scorpio coming, but it's coming at the same time that we are stationing with Pluto to stationary retrograde. So right after this full moon in Scorpio exactly apexes on Monday, we are going to see Pluto retrograde. And before all this happens on Monday and Tuesday, which I'm going to go into what that's all going to mean, we're in Taurus now, and this Taurus Venus, it's at home, it's at its dignity. Taurus love to be in Venus. You know, it's going to meet with Uranus, but it's going to smack and square to Saturn. And then Mercury and Venus are both going to meet up while they're with Uranus, and they're going to smack dab into Saturn. I think that's, I kind of wish it was the other way around. Like, I'd rather get a Saturn square first and then a Uranus conjunction. So this means to tell me there's going to be a lot of lessons this week and a lot of, starting to reveal what Uranus square Saturn is about. Or is it Saturn square Uranus? It's both. And I think that we need to make this very clear for this year. So if you take Saturn and you take Uranus, okay, they both are in square because they're both in fixed signs. Of course, we know Uranus is in Taurus, and we all know that Aquarius has Saturn there, and it also has Jupiter there. I am such a pesky person when it comes to my studio lighting and stuff like that. Everything's falling out of my pockets everywhere. This very Uranus square Saturn, there's no way for the reality to be stable right now, especially Uranus and Taurus. I've been saying that for a long time. I think it met to a lot of deaf ears in 2019, but I think in 2020 and then finally here in 2021, I think those deaf ears are, willing to hear it now. Oh my gosh. This is just not going well at all. There we are. And we had Saturn that came into Aquarius, and then so it's not liking me in too much of the light. It's so funny. We all love the light, but you know what I mean. If Saturn came into Aquarius and then it squared Uranus, right, in Taurus, that's Saturn square Uranus. Now that Saturn is stopped, it's not moving any farther this year. We're not going to see Saturn until 2022 move past 12 degrees of Aquarius, okay? We'll adjust you all here. That now we have Uranus, which is going past where it went through its shadow period, where it went retrograde last year at 10 degrees of Taurus, and it's going to move up to 14 degrees. So now it'll be Uranus square Saturn. Whew. Now Saturn's in its home sign of Aquarius. But the problem with I'm seeing this is, one, if you think, or especially, we're going to use the world as an example, even though this is South Node Saturn, I don't want to go into world events too much, even though I cover them a lot because I'm a mundane astrologer. But the idea that you can predict the world and have a sure bet right now is just ridiculous. because already Uranus is in Taurus and we have Saturn squaring Uranus, but now Uranus is going to square Saturn in Aquarius. And with Venus and Mercury meeting up here in the conjunction point with Uranus and then squaring it, we're going to get a real deep understanding really fast here of some very weird events that are going to help you kind of get smacked in the face by Saturn about, like, are you sure you really know that this is worth it for your future? Are we really going to do this as a collective for the future? And so I think people that are awake right now, that are aware of things that feel too crazy, too experimental, too, going against the natural order of the universe right now, it's pretty clear, and the big deal that's coming here is with this full moon in Scorpio, that's a fall moon, right? Because, the moon would rather be in Taurus. It'd rather be exalted, but it's in the opposite position where it's going to be in Scorpio. It's going to be happening right near that Uranus, and it's going to be happening in that square to Saturn. And so with all these events that are leading up to the full moon, there's a lot of smacks in the face. There's a lot of coming into understanding, though, of knowing your worth and knowing your value and not giving that away under one, peer pressure, under two, making sure that we don't go against the natural order of the way that the universe works, because that's really what Aquarius represents, is the universe and how it works. And the universe has a very, of course, very difficult to understand, but you have to take yourself kind of out of your earthly realm, since it's squared to Taurus, which is it is the fixed earth sign. It is earth in many ways. I know Venus gives, Venus is ruled by Taurus, but it's one of those things where we're dealing with outer world misunderstandings of artificial energy. This is where we get the whole idea of artificial intelligence too. That when you start looking at the media, or you start looking around the board at things in life, you start to kind of go like, what the hell is going on? A lot of the things that are going on right now have to do with, the fact that we're in a very weird place and time when it deals with the world not really fully people understanding it, I would say, because of the fact that there is an artificial energy, whether you call that the dark, whether you call that just not from this reality, that is fucking around with us. And that's the truth. And so we can and I get it, we can go around and we can go blame this political side, or we can go blame that political side, or we can go get lost in all the earthly things of this reality. But this is a week to where the transformation and the change that's got to come from within yourself, with a Pluto going retrograde right after this. Well, the moon will still be in Scorpio, but because Pluto's at 26.5 degrees, we are exactly where we were at in 1775. That was the last time. And actually, if you watch my Purgatory video, which you can watch on High Vibe, Rising Through the Darkness Purgatory, I did it on Thursday. It's over 4 hours long. It's a full lecture, and I cracked the code of Dante and the Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter conjunction and what to see for the future. And there's a lot in there. But part of this is understanding that was even where the last Saturn, Jupiter, Pluto conjunction happened. That was all in Capricorn, that happened in 2020 for us, happened in 1284. So not only are we in 1775, but we're in 1284 of where Pluto was at. We're also in 1517 and 15. Well, no, actually, we're not there because Pluto was early. So it would have been in the 1530s when you start to get King Henry VIII leaving the Catholic Church and starting to build the Church of England. So if you notice, that's kind of how the crypto thing's working, like the DeFi, to the way that people are somewhat at the same time, kind of wanting their own rights. If you actually, I know that King Henry VIII wasn't the best guy in the world, okay? But you have to give the guy only credit in the fact that he was the only one that had the courage to stand up to the church and say, I don't need you to dictate For him, it was marriage. But basically, it was also the rights to do whatever he wants. That's including going to war and stuff like that. And it was a break away from that. It also, brought a lot of different things up. And we have to all realize that for 1775's Pluto at 26 degrees of Capricorn, which is about to retrograde, we are at the year before the Declaration of Independence, right? Because the Pluto return in America's chart is coming next year. And this full moon in Scorpio is going to bring up a lot of this stuff. And especially the 1775 stuff, because that was the last time we could have actually been in a Pluto at 26 degrees of Capricorn that's going to retrograde. And this is the first retrograde of the rest of the retrogrades for the year, including a Venus retrograde, which we're going to get at the end of 2021 in Capricorn. So the only planet that's not going to retrograde this year is Mars, because we saw that last year. But every planet, including Venus, is going to retrograde this year. And we already had a Venus retrograde last year. So it's very rare to get a Venus retrograde 2 years in a row, because it's an 18-month retrograde. But because it happened in May, we're seeing one here at the end of this year, of May of 2020. So I think it's important for people to know that all the forward momentum energy that we've had, all this great energy to Mars comes into Cancer this week, the worst place for Mars. So you get Mars and the moon coming into their fall positions. You get a full moon in Scorpio that's going to bring a lot of change, and it's a change to the fabric of how we're seeing this world. And this is, I think, going to be the hardest part, because people are going to talk about relationships, money, all that stuff. You're going to hear that in every astrology channel about Venus and Uranus conjunct with Mercury. Yes, and the square to Saturn. Yes. Go look at the crypto market. Go look at the stock market. There's something, the whole markets are kind of frozen right now. Everybody's kind of not knowing what to do. And I would recommend everybody at this moment to not start making dramatic fucking big decisions at this moment, and especially looking at your long-term plans, especially based off travel. And I know you would be like, well, that has nothing to fucking do with Taurus. Well, it's where you're putting your money and your energy, because with the South Node in Sag making a quincunx to Uranus now, I don't know who's covering that in the astrology right now. Probably the only person I would know that would actually probably cover something like that would be Rick Levine. That's about the only person I know. And I think that people need to really pay attention to, I have a trip planned on a plane. Well, unless you've got this or this, that's the secret code for the people getting the fucking shot. We're about to see weird shit about that shot come up gnarly through this week, but mainly after this Pluto retrograde and coming in, because in 1775 was when the U.S. Navy was created. That's when they converted trade ships and started to make basically the army for the Continental Army. But the U.S. Navy came before the Declaration of Independence in 1775. Somebody said a private plane. Again, this is South Node in Sag, and I agree. Maybe there's some people, but you have to realize that the airports, that the countries, the UAE just announced that if you're going to be there, you have to get the jab. Israel's done it. Hawaii's talking about it. People don't realize how fast things can turn around. And if you are so sure, you don't want to be caught anywhere that you don't want to be caught up in. You don't want to get stuck anywhere. And this is that deep truth that Scorpio is going to bring up with a full moon in Taurus conjunct Uranus, because Uranus is trying to help us make the world a better place. And it's not through what we would think of as being this community thing with Saturn squaring it. Even though it's kind of funny that Uranus rules community, but Uranus also rules the individuality within the community, and not giving up our sovereign understanding of our real understanding of who we are as a person and our values. We just can't give that up to some sort of collective idea, because it's an idea in Aquarius. It's air. These are all ideas. These are all mind games. These are all things that are all up in the air. And guess who's making it real? The collective that makes it real by following it. It's that simple. So there's a lot of fear that's always thrown around, right, by all the truthers out there. And I consider myself a truther. I just use astrology to back it up. You shouldn't be afraid of anything that truthers bring out, because the only fear is that the collective that follows it are the ones that are creating it. And so wherever you're seeing peddled, and that includes in the spiritual community, making it all this inclusive community, like everybody must do this. No. If anything, Taurus and Scorpio, this full moon is going to start to bring up, especially because it's a moon falled in Scorpio and it's close to the south node. It's not exactly like 30 degrees away. It's a little bit more, but it's where we're going to see the nodes transition in January of 2022. And I think that it's very important for people to realize at this moment, with the Uranus starting to quincunx not only that south node that's at 11 degrees of Sag, because Uranus is at 10, but the star Antaurus, that we're in a weird place, and this hyper belief system that's also very counterintuitive to what really is good for the collective, that there's something going around that's artificial, that's throwing out ideas. It's very computer-like. It's also very wolf in sheep's clothing like, oh yeah. Or I always say chitty chitty bang bang, but the fucking kids today don't know that movie, and they don't know how the kids fell for the candy spell in that movie and got stolen away by the guy in the cart. But I would say that the biggest truth that's coming is, because this full moon's happening, it's covering where we're going into, which is Scorpio and Taurus, which is truly, to me, well, it's what you really want in life and what you really have, what you can create and what you can destroy. It's not the same as life or death, even though we associate it with death and so forth. I mean, it is, but really, like, life is more given to us from an ethereal place in Leo, and the square to Scorpio. That's a fixation of life, is the fixed signs. But Taurus is the window to a better life, which is heaven. So it's basically heaven or hell. And so I like Antaurus. It's a great star, but it's with the south node now. And whether or not you really want to get deep into astrology here, and if you really want to be like, we all are, I'm somebody, and I don't understand this about the astrology community. I'm like the only astrologer that will say the name of the person that said something and give them credit. There's just so many astrologers, they just don't say the name. But Cam White, who I'm friends with, you should follow him. He did a great podcast. His first podcast on YouTube was like 2 days ago. He was talking about the astrology community and where it's going and how it's got to be, it's very relevant to what's going on today, and of course for thousands of years. But he made a good point about, it could just take one story that puts your astrology in the wrong light that could change everybody in the wrong direction about looking at astrology, even though it's already kind of had a lot of those bad stories for a long time. But I like what he brought up about, where we're kind of at right now. But if we're going to be an astrologer, I think everybody's an astrologer that follows an astrology, and that's what he said. So I'm giving him that credit for that, and I like that he said that. That anybody who's watching this, pretty much, I'm giving up on trying to explain basic astrology at like the most fundamental point, because you know what? There's plenty of those little easy channels that people can go watch that shit with. There's so many of them now that I'm just tired of like having to describe the most easiest basic shit to try and understand. If I'm going to talk about Antaurus and South Node conjunct, we all, whoever watched this, should actually be in a place to where you should know that means we shouldn't be following this Antaurus kind of belief system, especially since it really sits in the sidereal zodiac of Scorpio, which is the red the great red giant, which is also, whether you want to look at it, reptilian. It's the dark. It's very warmongering. There's a lot of warmongering going around. Although the warmongering of Mars retrograde in Aries last year happened. It was just invisible. It was like a Pearl Harbor, but it fucking was invisible. It was cyber attacks. And with Mars coming into Cancer, I think that I'm preparing people for dealing with very hard truths about reality that are about to come and switch up your life very fast. So this whole idea that you believe that the world's looking this way, not going to look exactly the way that your eye and your third eye or your whatever that you might think it would be, it's going to get twisted on its head. So there's going to be an event that comes up here in the next week that's going to twist everything on its head and shift everything the way you thought that was kosher with life. And that's not something to be scared about. That's something to be informed about. And that the transformation that's coming has to deal with, you have a choice. You have a choice between living a better life that takes you to the heaven that you could be living in, the paradise, or you can follow the belief system of this, anything that's coming out like a belief that's like some collective, like what's good for all the people, when it's really not, because it's false. Which a good example is like fucking the 1930s. We're in the same fucking time. In the same fucking time. That if you're too afraid to admit that, and I would say that this makes the 1930s look weak. And that was crazy. This is way more intense because it's going to come out of nowhere and smack people in the face. And a lot of people aren't prepared for that. A lot of people are just walking around just going, yeah, fucking everything's going to open back up normally. And I'm going to be able to do this. And I'm going to be able to do that. And I can go back over here. And I can go that over there. And this is going to happen over here. No, they're tripling down on this story. They're already telling you that they're going to triple down on these. You're not going to need 2. You're going to need 3. And I just like, I mean, let's be honest. Let's go look at Canada. What the fuck is going on over there? You know, a lot of people like to praise Canada as being like such a neutral and great place. I'll use Jim Carrey for an example and how America needs to get their shit together. You know what? I'll take America's craziness over losing all of my rights as a human being completely by living in Canada. Because what's going on over there right now is being hidden from a lot of people, even though people that actually are watching truthers on Instagram and YouTube and everything, or wherever we can get out the info, we are posting it all up. Like, go do some research. Go do some research on what's even going on with money over there. I'm not, the meetup in Utah, I'm not flying, I'm driving. I'm driving 12 and a half hours. I'm also taking my RV though, but you know, I'm driving to Utah. I'm not going to get on a plane. I'm not getting on a plane at all. Because I'm in my nodal return and I was born with the South Node, I'm not getting on no plane. You crazy? I'll probably die. There's going to be plane crashes. Big ones when Mercury comes retrograde in Gemini. Square Neptune. And people getting stuck in weird things with visas and immigration. And, you know, people don't even realize yet what I'm predicting is going to happen is when you get a plane ticket, you're going to be giving away consent to get the shot. or by entering in the airport under government, airspace and stuff like that, that you are going to get the shot. People need to start thinking about these kind of things, because this is the world that's fucking coming down out of nowhere, and everybody that's just sitting in this hopefulness that it's going to go exactly, well, I'm not going to die. You know why? Because I listen to astrology. If I have a south node in Sag, I'm not going to, and I have a north node return happening in Gemini, I'm going to do walking, bicycling, rollerblading, jet skiing, but I'm not going to do planes. I'm not going to do buses, and I'm not going to do like Sag things where I don't have control of the wheel. Sorry. Or to where I have no way out. Boat's Capricorn. So, like, the relationship thing, I'm just speaking for as an astrologer looking at this, but I would say if I were to read the collective energy about a horse or the horoscope for relationships right now, ha, 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 ha. I don't think anybody fucking has any fucking clue where the fuck they're going, even when they thought they were so sure. Because this Venus conjunct Uranus score Saturn is going to be a big hard blow, and Venus score Saturn sucks. They're both in their home signs, and they're going to battle it out. I was born with Venus score Saturn. Hence, I'm going to be 37 this year, divorced, don't have a kid. The very Venus square Saturn. I get my love later in life. There's a lot of delays. And there's also a lot of like hard truths and a lot of hard work. And I don't think anybody really knows. This is also a lot of people switching their minds. I mean, this is Venus and Mercury conjunct square Saturn, having to like really look at things and really see if this is to deal with attraction too. Full moon in Scorpio. Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Does this feel like it's really on my trail? And especially, I'm talking to those people that especially are in partnerships where it's already been like too many signs on the wall, and you still like just keep believing, but it's a difficult thing that it's taking you outside of your world, and especially where Neptune at 22 degrees now, haven't been there since what, 1857. There's a split in the collective. There's a split in the country. There's a split in the world on the viewpoint right now. And so when you're dating or you're in a relationship and you're not on the same ideology or same team or same spiritual team, boy, oh boy, is this thing going in the way wrong, weird direction. I'm trying to get this hashtag going, which is the shedding is real. There's actual reports now about, people are getting the, and they are shedding out what? Other viral. I have to be careful with my words, but they're shedding out herpes. I don't think it was a coincidence. On Monday, Craig and I were laughing about it because I made up another joke about it. It's like, are you going through some PMS right now? And the joke is the name of one of the shots is Pfizer, the other one is Moderna, and then I put shedding. We go through some PMS. And one of the big loops that I think might go to people, and especially those that I feel really bad because I care about every human being deeply, and I don't judge anybody for any choice that they want to make in their life, but what if we're going to get to a point to where they talk about quarantining people and stuff like that? What if they finally, the truth comes out that like people who got it are creating this whole thing? And that's why I did purgatory, because I go way deeper into it. I can't say all of it here on YouTube. And exactly, somebody said we're completely lost freedom of speech. Like the fact that I'm even still here is a blessing by God, because I know I'm doing the righteous thing, but it's getting to that weird point now where shit's getting weirder. And it's about to get really weird. And I think that people also have to remember that Jupiter's on its way out of Aquarius to go home to Pisces, its original home, and meet up with Zeus's brother, right? Poseidon, Neptune. And so when you talk about propaganda in the media and Jupiter and Neptune together, oh boy, are they going to present the best facade show we've ever seen in our life, with a lot of craziness while Uranus is starting to square Saturn. So I'm trying to use this update for massive preparation, because it's gonna hit people really fast and very quick, especially how fast Mercury's going, 2 degrees a day. So it's super fast. It's coming around the sun on its quickest. If you look at the sun, if you look at the orbit of Mercury, it's coming to where it's closest to the sun, and it's turning towards Earth. It's coming at us as fast as it can. Venus as well has done, of course, the Cassini moment, and Venus is starting to come back into play. And Venus is doing, I think, a degree in 14 minutes a day. It's coming around the corner. So they're both coming around the corner around the sun to look at Earth. And so while they're going to be in a hard aspect to Saturn, and also behind them, if you were to look at from a Earth's point of view, looking at the sun and the sun's point of view mainly, behind that is the planet Uranus. So Uranus, Mercury, Venus are all, as Mercury and Venus are going full speed ahead. What the hell? It's like one of those what the hell moments that are coming. And that's the whole thing about hell or heaven, is like people are willing to do anything to change their situation and their environment by following a belief that doesn't have any credibility yet, that has a constant changing story that's never been solid. One thing about Gemini, it might not be solid, and it can be changeable, and facts can change. But one thing about, Taurus, and especially Venus here, is like, then don't put your bets down on things that don't feel too solid. And that's what's going to be very difficult during this time, is how much, whether it's the media or how much, or whether it's so many in our own collective right now, have put so much of a hard bet because they're trying to feel okay when they see the videos that everybody is posting, and people having seizures everywhere, people having fucking herpes and fucking crazy skin shit all over their body. You're not seeing the media stuff. You know why? Because on social media, you're seeing, I'm not even gonna give the person's name away, because like they've been banned now 4 times. Fucking every Facebook post this person could find of somebody who got the shot and fucking their family member died within a day to 10 days, they're posting it up on their thing. And it's thousands in America alone. Thousands. I can't even believe it. It's insanity. How many? But they try and tell you, no, only a couple have. Or it's like 583 people, they say, have died from it. But if you actually take a thought about that, Fauci just came out and said that guns are a health crisis, right? Like this is an epidemic, the gun crisis, because of the 100 people that have died from guns this year. Well, what about the shot crisis? That's killed like 5 times as more from what their numbers are, but from the numbers of where you're really looking at, it's in the 10. It's like in about, we don't know that number, so I'm not going to try and Gemini you when I don't have the exact number. But at least I can tell you the facts that I know, that I have seen for myself through all the posts and through people and through the truth, that you got to wake up and see. And then you got to wake up and see when the way that they even told you no mask this time last year, right? Not going to happen. Same way they're telling you no passport will happen. Oh boy, it sure looks like this administration will do whatever it can to do whatever the fuck it wants. And in the world too, the EU is doing a passport. So I guess the biggest bomb that I'm going to drop tonight, before I go do deep astrology right now on High Vibe, is, and I recommend everybody to go follow anybody right now on the internet that is talking about the solar flare or the sun's activity or the science news that is actually going on in real science about space and astrophysics, because not only is the electromagnetic sphere on the Earth, of course, very weak, 25% weaker than normal, and the Earth is speeding up, but cosmic ray maximum is happening on Earth. So we are being hit with cosmic rays. And this creates mental health issues. This creates cardiac issues. And the solar flaring activity and the sunspot activity is back up. And nobody wants to talk about that. Like, nobody wants to fucking talk about how maybe that's affecting people, or the idea of what we think CV is, and everybody thinking it's some sort of virus, when it's, if you look at the astrology, the only virus that's being put into people is one through a shot, through creating a spike protein and forcing the body to creating it forever in the rest of their life. And anything that is forever right now, when I'm trying to tell you with Saturn square Uranus, like, you can't take anything as forever at this moment. You can't take anything as stable. You're going to put an unstable thing that has no understanding in the future about it and put it in you for the rest of your life, where it will continually do its job for the rest of your life. That you know, the number one question I get asked from people is, how do you deal with the people that are in your family or your friends that go this way and are pushing this really hard? And I would say at this point, you have to be hermetic, and you have to, for 1 minute, look at both sides of the universe. And you have to be able to do astrology is not an easy task. You know why? Because you actually have to let go of your emotions. And with Mars coming here into Cancer, oh, the emotional stories that are going to come out, the emotional peer pressure with all the quincunxes to all the Aquarius energy from Cancer, the Mars square Chiron that's coming, the Mars opposed Pluto, the planet starting to come retrograde. Yes, and I always recommend people watch Bill Donahue's astrology channel. Thanks for bringing that up, bro. Because he's fucking fire, and he brings out some deep truth about astrology 20, 30 years ago. But I'm here to prepare people to, it's all fine when you have an understanding of the world to stay away from. That's it. The world not to believe. Because this is a world that is trying to be sold to believe. And this is a world that the people who are buying it, not with their money, but actually doing things like accepting that world literally within their body and their precious soul and giving it away and signing the consent to that world, where they don't have any rights. That's how fast this world, like, your only way to connect to the divine and get the answers is through you. And astrology is the way that you get the message deeply clear and confirmation. But like, this is going to be a very, very beautiful week for those that are in that world where they're not conforming, because there's so much Aquarius and there's so much Uranus square energy. This is about not conforming. This is about not following the leaders that are not leaders. Because really, there's no leaders right now. There's a bunch of people who act woke, who act like they're fucking creating this group, which is very cult-like. There's a cult. And this cult out there is fucking telling everybody, this is the way to save yourself. And they're not telling you God at all. They've even convinced the churches to push this agenda. And the churches are not even fucking owning up to, like, there's some churches that are, and the one church that did got put on fucking CNN and on blast, like as if they were like the worst person, that he's like, I'm a prophet, I think he said, and I'm telling my church not to do it. Well, Is that wrong? Everything that you watch on the news is a fucking hit piece about an opinion. An opinion that if you believe you're a good person, not social credit, that they're trying to build a social fucking credit score on you based upon how many CNN, MSNBC, Yahoo, fucking Bloomberg, fucking articles that you agree with and you follow. So if you don't follow the ideology of all these articles and all these stories that are opinions, they're not factual stuff. There's no factual evidence about like if it's good or bad that a fucking pastor says that he's a prophet and then he's telling his church not to get the fucking shot. That's fucking not that's part of his constitutional right. Especially freedom of religion. If I want to fucking for the rest of my life fucking and I believe Sprite is God in this can and I'm going to go form a church and we're all going to praise this Sprite. That this Sprite right here and the one that I drank on April 21st, 2021 at 9:45 p.m. in Orange County, California. If this is the fucking God, guess what? I have the right, and anybody else who wants to follow it has the right to fucking follow this. But guess what? We're not going to put a social credit score on the rest of the collective that fucking doesn't follow that. If everybody doesn't want to follow this Sprite, then go follow what you want. And so this is going to be hard astrology because full moon in Scorpio brings out how can you be passionate if you are not living in your sovereign truth and you've given that away to a cult-like collective social credit system now that's being built. Social media is social credit. I've been a social media influencer for over 10 years now. And it got really big when I went on my last reality show on ABC in 2010. And for the first time, every day I gain hundreds of followers. My number has not changed on my Instagram. It still says 39.9 thousand. But I'm watching myself every day gain 100 followers. They don't change the number. And then when you go to it, it just says plus 0%. My YouTube, the numbers they just said today from April 6th to April 12th, they don't have conclusive data. So they're not giving YouTubers the data of subscribers of whether they gained or lost. So they're showing me as losing a bunch of people, even though they're saying that they don't have the conclusive data. So right now, part of the social credit system is they already embedded into people how many followers you have makes you worthy of something. And so they're doing something really funny here. And they're going to do something really funny with all the info that they already have access to. So it's like, I know people try and do everything they can, including I tried it one time myself using another cell phone and this cell phone because I have so many cell phones and one that was connected off this. Like they fucking already know which articles you're looking at, what stuff that you're doing, what you're saying, all that shit. And it's all fucking this Uranus and Taurus that's like, it's whether or not you play their fucking little game. And this week is going to be where, oh boy, they're going to show a different version of the game out of nowhere. Because whenever you deal with Uranus, and especially you're dealing with Aquarius, and you're dealing with Saturn in Aquarius, and you're dealing with it squaring Venus, Mercury, with Uranus on top, and the sun is approaching Uranus for a full moon that's going to be with Uranus, and a full moon in Scorpio, that in a Pluto retrograde, people are about to go down to the dumps. Because they're not going to get the view that they want. And that could be on both sides. That could be people that got the shot and realized, fuck, I guess I'm going to shed herpes. Fuck, I guess that's a pretty hard reality. Even though now, when the Washington Post put out that article, like 15 articles got put out 6 hours later, like, that's not true. Nobody gets herpes. Yet they show, 6 people did, but they say in the article that no, you won't get it. So it's like, how the fuck does that make sense? That's how fucking stupid people are. People are fucking beyond dumb now. People are beyond dumb. And the Hermetic question is like, and I'm about to drop another big bomb. Like number one, the cosmic ray shit and the cosmic shit going on is affecting the core temperatures of the earth. It's affecting the seas. It has nothing to do with carbon. It has nothing to do with it. Nothing. And I know Libbies are going to fucking flip when they hear that from me. And it's like, go look at the data. Go look at the science, the actual scientists that they're not being published on your CNN page. They're not being published on your MSNBC that you have on the fucking top of your fucking app that you look at every day for your fucking news of your fake world that they're fucking trying to create on you. So what I'm trying to tell you all is that the biggest lie or the biggest secret is what is happening intergalactically, not just from a weird, who knows, extraterrestrial level. I mean, there was fucking video of weird ass UFOs over the US Navy ships that just came out last week. And anytime we start to see this kind of shit, like 1947 and fucking Roswell, guess what? It's when fucking nuclear shit is going on or weird shit that we should not be doing. We are doing shit we shouldn't be doing. And you know what? What was on that ship? Probably a bunch of fucking those vax. I was in the Navy. You know what else is on those ships? Nuclear warheads. Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, by the way, the last time in 1962, while JFK was president, was the beginning of some very intense Cold War aspects of Cuba. Yeah. Herpes, shingles. You can pick which one you like better, but I wouldn't want fucking either one of those motherfuckers by taking a shot that's supposed to, if it's a fucking, it's not even a vaccine. Let's be real, everybody. Like, do we really have to fucking keep going into this whole, like, people really are still calling it that? It's a gene therapy that does the weirdest shit on the planet that you don't even know what it does and just keeps fucking doing it into your system for the rest of your life. How's your immune system going to hang with that? It's unnatural. Everything unnatural, this Uranus and Taurus is going to smack you in the face. The Saturn and Aquarius is going to smack you in the face. Because even Saturn's trying to say, like, hold off on the Jupiter belief on the experiments. That's Saturn and Jupiter. I mean, if you remember, and I might have to do some. So let's take 1962, for example, because that was the last time we had Saturn and Jupiter together in Aquarius. It was the year before JFK was gone too. But when you go into the Ranger 3 was launched to study the moon. It later misses the moon by 22,000 miles. The embargo against Cuba is announced. Remember, we went through in this Chinese New Year a very similar event. There was one planet that wasn't there, Mars, but we went through a new moon that happened to be, that one was a solar eclipse. Ours was not, but an extremely rare grand conjunction of all the classical planets. But we are going to through something similar this year. John Glenn in his in the Friendship 7 inspected where he came back. That was on February 23rd. Mercury Atlas 6 was the first American orbital space flight, which took place on February 20th. So you have to remember, though, that like when they were starting that program, there's a lot of things in there where there was a lot of bad things that didn't happen, that didn't go down well either. But I think that my point is, There's going to be a lot of cost with any experimentation. And with it squaring Uranus and Taurus, which it was not doing in 60s, especially the early 60s, when Jupiter and Saturn conjuncted in Capricorn, but then both went into Aquarius. You have to remember that this is a cost that's much bigger to the physical reality of your life. And because we're in all this energy dealing with fixed energy is, if you look in tarot or you look in the Bible, it is the 4 fixed signs. The Wheel of Fortune card, like, people have to realize, and the World card, like the 2 major arcana that deals with the world and deals with the fortune of life is you must know your fixed energy. You must know your Taurus. You must know your Leo. You must know your Scorpio, and you must know your Aquarius. And Scorpio, Leo, so the only sign that's going to not be aspected with a planet aspecting this full moon is Leo. Like, I just found out some info from Dave from a High Viber that there's a certain somebody out there who, a lot of people that I have like hundreds of people that follow this guy, building a fucking app and network called High Viber. And we already know what I just had recently with a fellow High Viber, with now a bunch of other High Vibers that went and created their own network. So, welcome to Leo world, like counterfeit shit everywhere. It's just counterfeit shit. It's just counterfeit. It's trademarked, but it's like a year process to get trademarked. On January 28th, I filed the trademark for it. But, again, it's for High Vibe TV. But it's like, what's even crazier is he follows my ex-wife. So it's like, he's probably trying to get up on that. You know what I mean? Like, and then it was funny. I actually was with my ex-wife a while back. She asked me to look him up, and I was on my fucking phone, and his page didn't pop up. And then she's like, he looks like he blocked you. I'm like, I don't even know who this guy is. Then when a High Viber sent me today that shit was going down, his page popped up. I'm like, did this motherfucker block me? Fucking until fucking he got this whole thing out. And this guy's fucking well known around the whole community. It's like kind of a joke. But you know what? I'm not going to go out there and fucking cause some crazy shit or go tell him not to do it. Like, go do whatever the fuck you want. But you all know where High Vibe is. That's been a network for 3 years. And fucking that has apps and that has been doing 72 videos a week for over 3 years. But with this Leo energy being squared by all the Taurus, by all the Scorpio, the full moon, by all the Aquarius in opposition, you got to live your Leo self, which is your heart and your self-love. And you don't want to just go copycat other people. Well, they got the shot, so I'm going to get the shot. They're doing this, so I'm going to go do this. They're doing this, so I'm going to be that way. They're doing this, so I'm going to change that too. You'll never have your own kingdom of your own soul on your own connection. And so this full moon in Scorpio, people become obsessed under full moons in Scorpio. But I think that Saturn's going to say, like, maybe everybody should right now be in a place where you can't be so sure about where everything's going. I can't even be so sure about where this dude's trying to do that thing. I mean, it's out there. He put it out there. He's asking people to join. But it's like, okay. And then one of my dear friends who was on High Vibe just joined the other network that was with one of my other dear friends for 8 years. So all in one day, I found out that everybody that's come through these doors went out to go create their own fucking version of it all. And people that have been in contact with me, and the person that's been the closest in contact with me is in contact with the person making the new High Viber. But, you know, it's like the same shit on that guy's channel. Like, everybody's done a video that's saying the same shit for fucking 20 years. I am taking it as a compliment, but, you know, it's still something where in my life, like, I know my sovereignty. I know all the work that I do. I know I've helped all these people build their shit, and I want them to be all successful in life. But it's just very weird and difficult when High Vibe and all the work and the studios and giving a platform for other people to do their work and promote them and bring them on to my YouTube and introduce them and then do all this shit is because it's an investment in the collective. It's an investment in the future. But, you know, for the light work, and that's the main thing. So as long as that's happening, I'm okay with it. But it's still one of those things in my own personal sovereign heart that it always seems to be this whole like, well, you don't even want to talk to me about it. You don't even want to like, or they do some crazy shit or get really drunk and say they're fucking doing high vibe shit. Or it's fucking insanity. And so people need it with this Venus and Uranus. Like, I wasn't surprised because of Venus conjuncting Uranus right now. I was like, oh, and my 10th house is Leo. Yeah. Square Saturn. Oh, an Aquarius. Oh, relationships for Leos. Okay. So for you in your chart, there's going to be weird shit. I already am seeing it, and I'm already like, holy fuck. You know? That'd be like if I went and created Gaia TV, but I called it Gaia Gaia's.tv. Like fucking insanity. Or, you know, like, I'm trying to think of another network that would just be hilarious, but you know what I mean? It's just like, really? Like, and so, you know, the astrology that I gave out today isn't because of my own personal shit, just to let people know. Because I didn't even attach any of that till we just talked about it. Like, I literally forgot about all that because I was in astrology. And then I just kind of came into that moment of like, wow, that's right. This is going on in my life. And you know what? Thank you for that, because somebody said I'm a trailblazer. And you know what? That's all that Leo is about. And that's where we all have to look. That's the only space that's getting hit the hardest. Neptune is quincunxing it. Pluto is quincunxing it. Saturn and Jupiter is opposing it. Full moon in Scorpio is squaring it. Taurus is squaring it. Mars in Cancer is fucking coming into the fucking semi-sextile, but it's fucking right before it comes in the sign. It's the fucking... For Leo energy, it's Mars fucking doing its waning cycle and ending. It's like a dark moon. That's why it's the 12th house. Whenever your planet that you are the sign of, or a planet comes into the sign that you were of the planet right before, that's the 12th house. So, you know, it's as the Leo king and as somebody who's all Leo and just is watching the world, and I guess that's what people come to me for, is like okay, I'm not following the status quo or what everybody's trying to do, or everybody, and I've been saying for years that the number one thing that was going to come out during this time, because what happened in 1775 with Pluto at this degree in the retrograde is the beginning of counterfeiting. And so there's gonna be a lot of counterfeit spiritual people out there. There's gonna be a lot of counterfeit spiritual networks. There's gonna be a lot of counterfeit people. And I think that one thing about Taurus is the best, and I thank God I have a moon in Taurus. It's why I buy Sprite, even if I don't agree with Coke and what they did fucking about the whole fucking election thing when and then they moved it to Denver, fucking, you know what I mean? Like, that was stupid. Denver's got worse voting laws for black people than fucking Georgia still did. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I still know Sprite's better than fucking Costco brand. And that's why I have you to start looking at things about the relationships in your life and the people in your life and the situations in your life, being like, am I really getting the best of the best? Like, or am I getting fucking, the Costco brand? Am I getting Kirkland Signature? And they fucking try and make it fucking signature by adding the name signature? Like, really? Because that's really what this astrology is fucking doing. And I think it's, and I'm just gonna get personal because this is my YouTube. This is where I blog on High Vibe. I get personal a lot, but I get like a little bit more personal there. But I don't go personal public as much anymore about stuff. But I think it's hard for me when it's like, okay, I have to ask myself, like, why did I manifest this? Why did I manifest pretty much 90% of the people that have been on my last app, Future Life or High Vibe, leave and go create their own thing, not telling me, and act and then push on everybody that I did something wrong, as far as saying, okay, the contract's over because you're doing this now, and I wish you the best, and then paint me as a bad guy. Or even that somebody that my ex fucking admires deeply, and he follows her, and who knows what's going on there, because I don't know, goes out and creates a network that's exactly the same name and adds an R to it. And so for me, I have to ask, why, how did I manifest this? I mean, maybe it is the astrology with me going through Venus hard aspects. Saturn opposed my Venus and Uranus square my Venus in the middle of it, and Venus rules my 10th house of Taurus. That, of course, that's where I go. The astrology is there because I don't believe in the whole notion that the spiritual community puts out about, well, you manifest it. It's like, okay, I'm manifesting it through the astrology right now. And that's to answer somebody's question. Is it manifesting astrology? I believe it's always astrology. Based off that it actually is happening at the time. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of trying to figure that one out. And I've already had a lot of major blows with people, like especially in the last 3 years. But like, I didn't think that it would, like so many blows, and losing a best friend, lost my grandmother, like lost so many situations and people, and I'm still here and I still show up. But yeah, I am 12th house hidden enemies, but 6th house oppositions right now in my chart are they're showing themselves. They're actually in public. They're not, but they were hidden, and then they're showing themselves public. No, the peace dealer is doing his own network, but we are talking about next Survivor, but he's doing his own like reading network, whatever. And I wish him the best. And actually it was like really fucked up because I actually still follow him, and he had a video that I thought was hilarious, and I posted comments on it, and then I found out he had unfollowed me after 8 years of friendship and acting like he's fucking all about peace and shit. Like, that's not peace. The guy who's creating the network is Aaron Dottie or whatever his fucking name is. I don't know who this. I mean, my ex fucking is fanatic about him. I think that she just basically wanted to be with that guy, to be honest with you. She's been hiding that kind of shit for a long time. You can go watch. She only follows 400 people, and guess who he follows? He follows my ex-wife. My ex-wife knows more about that guy and know about all that kind of shit. And then, ironically enough, the peace dealer fucking, I don't care if I'm spilling any tea today. I don't give a fuck. But fucking Peace Stealer's last podcast fucking talked about like my ex-wife again, like oh fucking, and then he tried to say that her fucking pick a card reading is the reason why he went and created his own network. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You're using my ex-wife's fucking pick a card reading against me right now? A pick a card reading? There's my fucking shit back. I'm a reality star, so I will bring the reality. People don't realize with double Leos, especially Moon and Taurus and Mars and Scorpio, all exalted and all dignified. Like I will fucking, and I'm a reality star from the past. Like I know how to fucking bring the drama, and I will bring it to you fucking face first. That's why I got so much fucking camera time. That's why when I was on all the commercials for ABC, MTV, like don't fuck with me and fucking bringing out drama as a Leo, and I will fucking reality show this drip shit to the fucking top. But that's the truth. That's the truth. I will bring you the truth always. And so if I'm going through that in my own life and the astrology is getting this crazy, and I'm talking about the world though, and about the shot, the fucking pass, the fucking crazy shit, people got to really fucking pay attention to it, because right when you think you can trust the system, or you think you can trust these doctors, or you think you can trust the media, is the same way that I think I could trust somebody I worked with for 8 years, that I pushed hard for 8 years, that I taught everything I knew to that guy, or that I taught my ex everything that I knew, whether she took part of it or whatever. At least I got the receipts of who paid for that corporation. She paid me back, but still. People don't want to know the real truth. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? You following your own truth right now and you not being counterfeit, you're going to be the bad guy. And that's how they're trying to get people. And that's the best fucking lesson I can give you all right now. Because I am all over the internet right now as the bad guy. I am under the internet, even with my ex-wife and forums, saying that I was the bad guy, that I did all this bad shit. Oh, if you all fucking knew. And fucking, and you know, we're not even getting into that. But fucking, that's the lesson through this week. Be your damn true self, your true heart self. Don't be counterfeit. And don't fucking follow the trends, or, you know, it's like one of those things, right? Like, I always use the blue check mark, and it is like the 4th week in a row. It's like, just because somebody has a blue check mark doesn't mean that they're an end-all be-all in life. And only if you relate with them. But you know what? Most blue checkmark people are too afraid to fucking put the truth out there, and they're too afraid to fucking go against whatever the other blue checkmark people are doing. You know, it's like so stupid. And you know what? I am on a little bit of a defense. All the planets are against, like they're all against me right now. But they're all against Leo, and all of us as a collective, they're after our hearts. They're after our true courage. They're after, and if you show courage, you're a bad guy. If you show your authentic self and you create and you're a way shower and you do it from a place of love, you're going to be copied. You're going to be counterfeited. And you're going to be also sent as the bad guy, and the counterfeit's going to be made to look better. And that's one of those things that you're going to have to 100% in yourself not fall for right now, in yourself. It's the best fucking astrological advice I can give you. For real. Because Taurus, and that's why you should watch Purgatory, because people are willing to take the emergency exit right now while we're all in what we would think of as a purgatory, but you don't know where that emergency exit's going. And you don't want to fucking just take it, because it could just be a drop off in the matrix to a fucking end result you don't want. Or it could be a fucking trap door that takes you fucking out into a vacuum of space that you don't want to end up into. That's where I'm going to leave it. I have to go do deep astrology. Yeah, there's 1.1 people, 1.1 thousand in the chat. I appreciate you all. If you all could push the like button on this, because I've been shadow banned to Kingdom Come, like literally. I didn't believe it at first, but when I'm watching how many followers I get and they don't change the number for over a month, and they have no way to describe it, they don't show that many unfollows, and they're just not changing the number, you start to question what the fuck's going on. Or when you're doing 1 million views of video, and then out of nowhere, once they do that and they really check you out and see what they're doing, they fucking bring you down to 20,000 again. It's like, what the fuck? Like, why do you think I'm on High Vibe? Like, I fucking promised you all that I would show up for free, and I do these little talks now, and I do I do spiritual dance music, and I do whatever I feel that I can bring out. But most of my shit's counterfeited. They take my shit and they counterfeit it. We caught that last year. It's all on my Instagram stories. Go find out my Instagram stories about fraud, or people are watching on my High Vibe, watching my dailies, and then putting it out on Instagram and getting hundreds of thousands of followers and millions of followers and likes. And they're taking word for word what I said and just putting it with like girly fucking shit. We've caught them. It's very difficult. And it's kind of very difficult here on High Vibe, or I mean on YouTube, when a lot of YouTubers out there just like, I don't know, like gave up on me or something, because I went and I know my worth, and I know what I give, and I have receipts on fucking predictions that are so fucking true with warnings for years. Trust me, my shit is copyrighted and trademarked and shit, but you think in this world right now, getting a lawyer and going to court's easy? One thing I can tell you as an astrologer, but as a Leo, I've been taken advantage of many times this life, but I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I gave my light, I gave my truth, and that's my job. And I know a lot of people out there probably feel taken advantage of by their light a lot and feel like people counterfeit their shit, whether it's in your personal life or whatever. Oh, it's just 5 Iron Frenzy, one of my favorite Christian ska bands. I fucking, this is one of the only, I don't know why I just picked this shirt today, but you know, the best advice I can give you all is don't feel taken advantage of. Just be happy you just showed up and you're in the righteous energy of God's will, and you did God's work. And if it helped them out and it did what it did, then that's all you got to focus on and move on. And eventually the right energy will come that wants to say, which I'm lucky to say I have right now. I'm so blessed for everybody on High Vibe. I'm so blessed for the people that follow me. I'm so blessed for people that have stayed with me on YouTube now for as long as you all have. And I'm blessed that, you know, in the astrology community, there's still some cool people out there that still will even listen to me or anything without blacklisting me, or, you know, like most of the community has. But these are going to be weird times, and I'm giving the warning shot to people, and that the full throttle is over. I'm a racer for a living too. I race jet skis. I know when there's a yellow flag and I have to slow down around the turn because there's somebody in the water, and it slows the race down. I know when there's a red flag and there's a false start, and we all have to come back and get back on the line. I know when it's the green flag and fucking the race is going. I know when it's a white flag. I know when it's the checkered flag in life. I know when the flags pop up about life, and I'm here giving you the yellow flag that things are slowing down, and things are going to also turn like you weren't ready for. So this whole idea that you have your future predicted for yourself, not the universe. The universe already has that shit. But what I'm trying to say, I know it's kind of crazy. We got 1,200 people here on YouTube, and I got like 206 on Instagram. My Instagram now, Instagram's a joke. Fucking, we're all a joke now. That's why I'm on high vibe. But fucking, there's going to be a lot of loneliness with Saturn and Uranus and square and Venus on it, because people are too much in control of disconnection instead of connection. They have control issues with connecting. And that's a hard thing. And a full moon in Scorpio yearns for connection. And with the square to Saturn, people are going to be too afraid to make big leaps, when this was the year of where you had all the energy from, especially after that Mercury came out of retrograde in Pisces and went back into Aquarius. When that came direct and all the planets were direct, you've had these last 6-7 weeks to fucking make connection, because it's going to be one of the years that I feel is going to, people think, oh, well, you know, it's not going to be like Saturn, Jupiter, fucking, and Pluto and Capricorn, but it's going to be too many misdirections or too many directions going in ways that you didn't want for the world to go, and fast, and when everything slows down, you're not going to have a lot of opportunities. And I want people to like have opportunities. I don't want people to like keep cock blocking love. That's the number one cock block in life right now, is Leo is being attacked. And so if you look at the astrology and you go look at Leo right now, it is being attacked on every side. And that means that people are afraid of loving. They're afraid of love. Look at the world. Like, go social distance. How Aquarius is that shit? Go take a fucking shot to fix you instead of love? Or what? What is the planet that rules Leo? The sun rules Leo. So the planets rule the signs. So the sun is the number one thing they say to get rid of this thing that you need to have: vitamin D and love. And they are trying to take you away from all that in life and tell you that a fucking experiment's going to fix you. Using astrology, it's that simple, that clear. But when I see fellow astrologers out there promoting the Aquarian way to do it, I'm like, wow. But that makes sense, since I'm the Leo king and I'm a Leo, and I'm going to always like go, okay, but I'm going to follow the sun, So, I mean, I might be over brightened out, but I mean, I go out and I get tan. I go sit out in the sun for 20 minutes. I always have my fucking sunroof down, and I always have my top down if I'm in the convertible, and I'm always fucking in the sun. That's all I have for today. And I probably aired too much of my own fucking dirty laundry, but you know what? That's the world we're living in, and that's what's happening. And that's, if we're going to talk about counterfeit and shit, just who was there talking about high vibe for a long time? Who had a high vibe app out in 2018 and was doing a daily high vibe, not horoscope for free, but putting out a positive video? You can go type in on YouTube, the Leo King high vibe daily message video on an app that was also on YouTube 3+ years ago. And there's been a lot of counterfeit energy out there. And relationships, just when you think you can trust everybody, maybe not, but don't let them, when they do their crazy shit, stop you from being who you are, and stop the fucking courage and be the way shower that you are. And you know what? As somebody told me, like, take it as a fucking, like, I don't even know. I was like, but to me, it's like, it's more like, wow. Like I'll be honest with you. I had this question the other night. Not that I feel lonely, because I'm the most alone I've ever been in my life. I just have my family, and I just have people that work for me at High Vibe, and my High Vibe people, and then all the people that, of course, are here on my YouTube or my socials and stuff. But, and I have other people and stuff. Some people get hurt when I say that. I'm very lucky. I have a lot of people that I care for in my life and that care for me, but it's definitely the smallest circle it's ever been. But, and it feels the most. But I was really wondering, and this is a question that maybe everybody needs to ask in themselves that do this work or that push. Maybe this will help you all. I don't know. Because I think a lot of us, or a lot of people that are watching right now, of the 1,400 people watching me live right now, and the tens of thousands that'll watch this, is that we all are doing our best to try and wake people up and all that stuff. But I just am wondering why so many people hate me, or so many people don't like the way I do things, or so many people just like literally just don't like me in my life. And that's one thing that Venus square Saturn is going to bring up with Mercury. And you can't let that one beat you down. You can't like trust me on that one. You got to focus on knowing that there's people out there that do love you and that do want your vibe, and that you don't need to change who you are, you know? And that's going to be hard because these are all fixed energies, and like, it's not easy, you know? Like, and I've been so busy, I haven't been able to do my therapy for 3 weeks. I had to move and all that stuff. So I'm also in that kind of weird thing, you know? And you know, it's nice seeing 1,200 people on here. And last time we had that was like fucking 6 months ago. So I guess it's a sign of hope. And don't lose hope during these times. But don't give away your sovereignty and give hope into that. And don't, you know, in the last 2 months, I had multiple, I don't even know. I can't count with both hands. People literally tell the truth to me about what they really did when the whole time they had me fooled in other directions. And it was very difficult to experience, to hear the stories, to have it uncovered. And this full moon in Scorpio is going to do the same. So y'all better be ready. And the world that's really in planning is not the one that they've been showing you on purpose. And they're going to try and whoop you really quick here. That's what they're about to do. So don't let it get you down, and don't let go of your sovereignty and your direction. For some reason, this feels like could be even my last video on here from what I feel from my guides. That's how much I feel this whole system of truth they're going to take down. Just feel it. It's coming up in my astrology too, with Uranus going to square my Venus at 11 degrees Leo, and Saturn opposing my Leo Venus. That's my 10th house ruler. So if I'm gone, you all know where to find me. And I'm not going to be deleting my account or anything like that. You just all know that. So, and then last thing, because I really don't do anything public anymore as far as talk about what we're all doing and stuff, because I feel like I'll admit I let the election and all the shit that was, people just fucking were so pissed that I predicted Trump that everybody, like, I just stopped being public about so many things and just kept it on high vibe, even though it doesn't feel like that because I'm on high vibe doing it. But I realize that, I don't know. I mean, I do lives on Instagram a lot that are pretty wild and crazy. But as far as on YouTube, I kind of didn't really give a lot out as much. But we're doing a meetup in person in real life in Utah on June 11th through 14th. You can go to my Instagram and the picture's up there. It's pleasedon'ttrip.com. I'm DJing. I'm doing an astrology talk. It's 4 days long, 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. We're doing a high vibe meetup there. I'm going to be doing an astrology talk for the festival, and I'm DJing the festival on one of the big main stages. And I'm also going to be doing my own meetup, and I have my own DJ gear and all my own astrology stuff. And I have a projector I'm bringing to put up into the stars. It's going to be 9,000 feet up. I'm not going to say what somebody said in the chat, but we all know who won the fucking election. Because anything that feels artificial or counterfeit right now is not from the divine. And I'm sorry to say, but a bunch of fucking ballots that show up out of nowhere and that was not normal is not divine. Didn't come from the divine. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But so please don't trip. If you want to hang out, it's in real life. There's only a couple there's like 20 RV spots left and they're going quick. So they just opened up 20 more. I just got that word tonight. So go get the RV spot right now. And I'm the only one promoting it hard. All those other big DJs and stuff are not. I went and looked. I was like, okay, I'm promoting it hard. So if you do want a spot, go get it as quick as you can. Or you can camp in your own car and bring your own tent and all that stuff. They're out of hotels. But there's a restaurant there and stuff. I mean, I'm bringing my RV, so I'll be in my RV. And it's going to be 9,000 feet up. I do go hard. I go hard in everything that I do. I don't fuck around. So I don't sit in my fucking house and make videos and fucking look like I'm transitioning to some weird thing. Like somebody else. All right. The real men are still around. That other dude, fucking good luck, bro. Oh my God. Oh. Bet you fucking has IKEA fucking drill. It's called pleasedon'ttrip.com. Or go to my Instagram and you'll see it's my number one. It's the top post after this live that's going on Instagram. I forget I'm on Instagram, but all right. Love you, kids. Bye. Bye.